Welcome to the LinkedIn Local Barbados session. This is our monthly session that we have for the members of our LinkedIn community. As you know, LinkedIn Local Barbados is a part of LinkedIn Local Caribbean. And our intention is really to bring information to our members so that you can make decisions, you can improve your working, your professional lives, you can improve your knowledge, you can make connections to strengthen your network. Our intention is always to, where possible, we reach out, we want to share from our Caribbean colleagues. We invite people from across the region to participate and to be a part of our initiatives because we want this to be a Caribbean grown and a Caribbean focused entity that we are creating. And so my name is Marjorie Wharton and I am the host for LinkedIn Local Barbados. And my colleague, Jillian Foster, who is busy letting people in as I am speaking. She is also a part of the LinkedIn Local Barbados community. And this evening, for our very special topic that we have quite a number of people joining us as we're going along. So that's why you keep seeing me rocking forward, leaning, looking over here, because I'm letting people in to the room. But we have quite a number of people who are very excited to learn more about the topic of investing in cryptocurrencies. And so this evening, we have with us two very special guests. We have people who are expert in the fields, who understand this field, who can talk to us intelligently about cryptocurrencies, and who can give us guidance, advice, and input into what we should be looking for if we are interested in knowing more, what we should be considering if we're interested in investing, and to understand really what these things are and how we could potentially make money from these things. So our two speakers are Leiska Evanson and Hallam Hope. I'm going to start this session off by asking the two of them first to introduce themselves, just say a little bit about themselves. And then I'm going to ask each of them to speak to you for about 10 to 15 minutes to introduce the topic and to share their unique investor points of view. And then we are going to open up for questions. Now, as we are going along, you can feel free to share your contact information, share your LinkedIn, the link to your profile in the chat. You can feel free to ask questions. You can type them up in the chat. We will share them with the speakers as we go on. So I'm going to start, Leiska, by asking you to start off by introducing yourself.
Thanks, Marjorie. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leiska Evanson, as Marjorie correctly pronounced it. I am also a member of the LinkedIn Local Barbados community. I usually work somewhat behind the scenes as the producer of our accompanying podcast, linkedinlocalcaribbean.com/podcast. I will be putting that in the chat. Personal life, or not so personal life, I am a business consultant. I come from a background of roughly 15 years in technology, in marketing, and in insurance administration. Again, 15-year background in technology, marketing and business, and insurance administration. So I have learned about cryptocurrencies through practical application, and while I am not a financial advisor, and I want to make that clear up front, my purpose tonight is to share all of the information that I would have researched both professionally and privately so that people can make their own informed decisions.
All right, thank you very much. And Hallam, just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening. So I'm Hallam Hope. I've been a journalist all of my life. I got involved in technology over 30 years ago when I was dabbling with things like how many telephones people had in the country and all that sort of stuff. Did my master's in communication policy studies with majors in things like economics and regulation and technology. Did some lecturing at UWI online for 3 years to their advanced program, international program, and I got involved in then renewable energy, telecommunications, brought into renewable energy, and then as of the 15th of October, I got bitten by the blockchain and the cryptocurrency bug, and I've been studying it every day, every night since then. And since May the 22nd, I actually have been doing a lot of experimental trading on a very regular basis. And we believe that we've reached a strategy, a plan where people can trade and invest in cryptocurrency and they can do so with 100% success. I want to say, just like Leiska, that I'm not a financial advisor. I might look the part. I might be good looking enough to think for you to think that I'm a financial advisor, but I'm not a financial advisor. I'm merely here to give you my opinions, my views, and experiences and share with you in terms of what's possible in this world. Because for the first time, we are seeing a convergence of technology, money, and trade that provides a lot of opportunities for the ordinary person.
All right, thank you very much, Hallam. So, as I mentioned, I'm now going to ask our guests to just take about 10 to 15 minutes to just give us an introduction to what they are, their perspective, explain some concepts for us, just start us off down this journey of understanding investing in cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to ask you to start first, Leiska, and then I'm going to ask Hallam to just continue.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start with what might be, for some, the simplest question, but it's really the most obvious. What the heck are cryptocurrencies? People hear the word cryptocurrencies and they begin to shy away like it's some arcane magic. It really isn't. Cryptocurrency is a digital asset that is used as a means of exchanging value. And before you think, well, I've never done that in my life, you have every time you've gone to top up your Digicel minutes at the gas station. You've done it every time you've used airline miles to book a ticket. When you get those minutes on your phone, you can also send them on to someone else, and they could send you the same $10, give you the same $10 bill for the top up. With airline miles, there are airline mile exchanges. So at a very basic level, a cryptocurrency is just that digital asset, an intangible asset that we know is built from computer code, but it is used as a means of exchanging value, no different from calculated airline miles or credit card points for spending somewhere or your cell phone minutes. The difference that is crucial, though, between the two is that cryptocurrencies are decentralized. For most cryptocurrencies, there's no one owner or issuer. If you get Digicel minutes, you aren't getting the flow minutes. Digicel will tell you to get so many minutes, you have to pay $10 or $20 or $30. Cryptocurrencies are decentralized. The value is set by what the market believes the worth of the cryptocurrency to be. And most of them are not controlled by any one entity. They try very much to be decentralized so no one person controls it. Now, from there, the next thing you're going to ask is, so if these are digital assets, should I invest? And I would say, yes, you should invest in learning about these digital assets and getting very familiar with them. Because post-pandemic, digitization has been the word of the day. And what seems like newcomers to many people are actually almost a decade old now. They're still here. There are more cryptocurrencies growing. And they're being looked at by financial institutions, central banks, all as a means to understanding how we move to a more digital life. So you should definitely invest in learning about them and being able to understand how you're going to invest in them and what you're looking to invest in. Now, my investment philosophy has been built from quite a long time ago. There's some here that may have experienced this as well. If you've happened to done an MBA or a Master's of Science in Finance or such, you may have been encouraged to do some sort of simulation trading, be it Forex or stocks or such, just to get a grip on a practical grip on markets and managing your money and going through that. I had that experience during my MBA quite a while back, but I said, but this is not realistic enough because it gives you a fake 100,000 and people will never treat it that the same way they would as if it's their own actual money. They just will not put the same thought into what they're doing when it's their actual money. So I am a person that believes in practical use and experimentation. So I took my money and I built a portfolio in the things that I was interested in at the time, learning about cryptocurrencies, learning about certain stocks, learning about investment options. And it was very relevant at the time, and it's still relevant now because, well, say your interest on savings is probably less than 1%, depending on where you are in the world right now. And that's not helpful to anyone who wants to actually grow their income. So that's what led me on that. And my investment philosophy is very much a not set it and forget it, but set it and watch it for a long period of time. I am very fundamental when I come into this. When I choose something, I am choosing what I invest in because I research it. I like, in the case of cryptocurrencies, I like what the philosophy is. I like the management of it in terms of that it is actually decentralized and not secretly centralized by someone. Look, that's usually a key sign of someone trying to make a quick buck. I like to understand everything I can possibly understand about an investment, be it a company stock, be it a bond, be it a cryptocurrency. I like to understand it as fully as I can before I put money in. And when I put money in, I expect to keep it there for years. Now, in the jargon, I'm commonly called a hodler, which is a misspelling of holder, because I prefer to hold my investments. Now, with that, there are a couple of things. The next question that most people will say is, okay, so cryptocurrencies, what exactly do I need to do to get cryptocurrency? Well, what's the first thing your parents do when they give you money? Don't they put it in something? A wallet, a purse, an envelope even? And it's the same thing when you get cryptocurrencies. The first thing you need to do is find the wallet that you will be keeping this cryptocurrency in. Now, we've already said it's a digital asset. It's a bit of computer code. So the wallet is also is the software that is holding that bit of code and keeping it safe for you and available for you to use in transactions down the line or to receive transactions. There are generally 3 types of wallets. 2 of them are digital. 1 of them is a mix of digital and tangible. There's what we call the exchange wallet. So that would be like when you go to a bank and you open a bank account, and you put the money in and you get the equivalent. So you open a US bank account and you put in 1,000 Barbados, so you expect to get 500 minus fees in a US account that you open. The money is yours, but it's at the bank. The bank is essentially holding your wallet. That is what we call an exchange wallet. Typically, it will be online. You will access it through a web page or through some other form, maybe an application on a mobile phone. Then there are digital wallets where the software does not reside online, but you download it onto your computer. You download it onto your phone. So the software is there, but it is on your phone or on your computer. You use it on your computer, on your phone. You connect your computer online, your phone online, and then you send the transaction. But you don't log into a web page. You're using the software on your computer. And then the third type of wallet is called a hard wallet or a cold wallet by many. That is when you download the software onto something such as a USB key. It could be something like, well, I had a pen that had a USB key in it. It's usually encrypted so that you're the only one with the password. You're the only one who can access the funds in that wallet. The software is on that USB key, and the money is recorded by that software. That's called a cold wallet. It's almost never attached to the internet. And that is usually the safest method, but also the most heartbreaking method, because with cryptocurrencies, much like if you put cash in an envelope and you left the envelope under the bed and the bed got taken away by SSA and you totally forgot about that envelope, the money is gone. If you've forgotten what you've done with it, where you've put it, or the password for it, it's much like cash in that way. It is gone.
Mm.
But at the same time, it is less prone to crackers, people who are phishing for your information, people who crack the passwords to the exchanges and take the money out of the wallets. So those are the three types of wallets. So first, you need to choose the wallet that you're going to use. In most cases, you are probably going to start with an exchange wallet to acquire the cryptocurrency. And then you can decide, depending on how much you are able to acquire, if you're going to put some in a cold storage, leave some on your computer, or leave some in the digital online wallet to use in the exchange.
Okay, Leiska. Thank you very much for your opening comments. And one of the things that I will confess to our participants that I had to say to our presenters, because they're both very passionate about this topic, that I will, may interrupt them from time to time. So I'm going to just ask you to stick a pin there. And I'm going to now ask Hallam to just give his opening comments, and then we are going to start the questioning process, because I'm sure the audience is already starting to have some questions to understand some of those concepts. And from what we've seen in the chat, some people already know those basic concepts, and they may have even more advanced questions to ask. So just going to invite Hallam now to give his 10 to 15 minutes, just, saying that again, to start us off, and then we'll go into the questions. So Hallam, over to you.
Thanks again, Marjorie, and thanks to everyone for tuning in this evening. It's really a great pleasure to talk to people about the opportunities, as I mentioned earlier, which for the first time we have, where money, technology, and trade have all come together for the first time. And it does allow anyone from, say, a 10-year-old right up to whatever age, they're mentally well and fit, to actually engage in trading in cryptocurrencies. Now, I want to make sure that we're not talking about Forex trading. Forex trading is very risky. People will invariably lose a lot more money trading Forex. Trading with cryptocurrencies, you do not have to be in front of a computer every single day, and you can still trade very effectively and make money. And as I mentioned earlier, when I started back on May 22nd last year, we have actually made a winning trade on every trade that we made. And I really had a fun had a little laugh at myself when I did the first trade where I found that I had made a profit of 13 cents US. And I said, well, Hallam, you're really making it sport. But then when I thought about it, I said, well, Hallam, actually, you've made a profit. And that's important. So you move from 13 cents to 1.5%, 3%, 5%, 10%. And right now I'm sitting on a trade of 20%, which I'm probably not going to look at until it hits about 40% profit. So cryptocurrencies, we have our own model, which we call swing trading. In most cases, when people are engaged in forex trading, they're trading on leverage. And what that means is that they're going to bet that the price goes up or goes down to a certain degree, and they're going to bet, say, twice as much, 5 times as much, or whatever. So if they're betting, if they're trading $100 or $50 or whatever, and they're trading 5% leverage, then they're looking to make a profit of about at least $250 on that single trade with the $50 that they're trading. The approach that I use is much more conservative. It's something that can be taught. It can, it does take about 6 months or so or thereabouts to really grasp, but it's much more conservative. You can, as I said, trade and earn on every trade, and you can actually over a period of time develop a very decent amount, reasonable amount of income. Now, why do people want to trade in the first place? Well, as Leiska mentioned, when you go to the bank and put your disposable income on the bank, you're going to get less than 1%. You would have made costs, traveling costs, bus fare, car, whatever, time. And then you're going to get, at the end of the day, you're not going to make any money from it, really. And must remember, it's very critical to remember that the cost of living is X%. So last year, it looked like 4.4 to 5%. Let's say it was actually 7% because of coronavirus. So essentially what is happening to your money when you keep it on the bank, it's actually burning up. And that's your hard-earned labor, your tears, your sweat, and everything else. And who wants to really have all their money just sitting down on a bank burning up? And really you're talking about disposable income. You're not talking about funds you're going to need to pay for your gas, your electricity and internet and that sort of thing. You're talking about disposable income that you're not going to need for, say, 9 months to a year or whatever. So why have those funds sitting down when you can actually be earning much more by trading successfully once you have the correct education and that sort of thing? All right. And just to close off very quickly, I must tell you and warn you that there are a lot of scams out there. Okay. We've been following scams for quite some time. Even sometimes your very best friends, your family come and say, listen, I think I've got a really great deal here, but they haven't done the research. And essentially, you're going to end up losing money. All right. So, and there are all myriad types of scams out there, but I'm going to stop at this point, and I'm just simply going to say to you that it's my belief from our experience that if you've got a bright 10-year-old, 18-year-old, you yourself, if you've got some keen interest and willing to put in some time, you can trade successfully, and you do not have to be in front of your computer every day, every minute to trade successfully. Marjorie?
All right, thank you very much for those brief opening remarks, Hallam. All right, so we've heard from both of our presenters. We've heard from the experts. And as Jillian would have mentioned to you in the chat, you can please go ahead and just type your questions in the chat, or we may allow you as well to just raise your hand so that you can open your mic and ask a question if you want to do it that way. But definitely, we've heard a lot about cryptocurrency. There's a lot that we do not understand. And I think what you've both started off with telling us has really given us an opening, well, for some of us, has given us an opening position, a beginning to help us understand what to do. But really, when we hear about, or when I hear about Bitcoin, I should say, when I hear about Bitcoin, you're always hearing things like, certain terms you hear a lot. You hear people mining for Bitcoin. You hear people trading in Bitcoin. There is the idea as well. You hear people talking about lots of money. People have become Bitcoin millionaires. Recently, there was someone was selling a restaurant in New York, and they're selling it for using cryptocurrency. So there's a lot that's happening, and there's still a lot that we do not understand. So one of the questions that I would start with, until we see more coming from our audience, one of the questions that I would ask you is really, what is perhaps the easiest way for a starting individual to make money from cryptocurrency?
Let's you can take that.
You decide who
I
wants
can
to.
take, I can.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The easiest way for someone to start in cryptocurrency would be to get one of the wallets and to begin, if you have some service to offer or something to sell, selling it for cryptocurrency. That is possibly the easiest way to start, because that's where most people start learning about any new form of funds, buying and selling.
Okay, so how would a person get one of the wallets?
Right. So the problem is there are many, many wallets to choose from. There are a few that have become favorites. Each cryptocurrency typically has its own wallet. And then there are wallets that exist that try to accommodate as many cryptocurrencies as possible, just like an electronic version of the wallet in the back pocket of your pants or deep in your purse, where it will try to accommodate anything that you can put in there. I would tend to suggest people use, I believe there are many that are for the cell phone, which is one of the most convenient ways to use it, particularly because a lot of cell phones now are coming with not just you use your password, but you can use your fingerprint or you can use your eyes, and that helps add security to it. There are a couple that I like. 𝐋𝐢𝐧𝐤𝐞𝐝 is one that has been
Coin
a
Mama?
long-standing.
Coin Mama, you mean?
Not 𝐋𝐢𝐴𝐺, 𝐋𝐢𝐽𝐺. I'm talking strictly about the
Okay.
wallet.
I understand that.
𝐋𝐢𝐽𝐺.
Yeah.
I will add it to the chat,
Yeah.
and I will add a link to it. That is one that I believe that's been trying its best to accommodate many different cryptocurrencies. I have Bitcoin in what might be considered a tiny fraction of Bitcoin, because, as I said, I started with my own cash the hard way a while ago. So that is in a cold storage. I use the smaller Bitcoin wallet for it, which is called Electrum.
Okay.
And once you get those wallets, those give you the option, much like online payments, to start to accept money. So one that people may be using already, which is based on a similar concept, whilst it does not deal with cryptocurrencies, is M-Money, where you have the M-Money wallet. So people can, if they know about M-Money and you have an M-Money wallet, understand that the cryptocurrency wallets are pretty much the same concept. So you can get the wallet, but then what you can do is, if you have something to sell and a person is willing to trade their cryptocurrency for it, that might be the easiest way right now to begin to use cryptocurrency, learn about cryptocurrency, and even generally acquiring cryptocurrency right now. Hallam, I think you can go through some of the other parts that I am not going through, because there's some difficulties generally in the region around gaining cryptocurrencies.
Okay, could one of you though, because maybe I just didn't, or I'm not understanding it. There may be people here who get it right off, but how exactly do you get either one of those wallets that you have identified? Do we go to the App Store and download an app? Do we go look it up online?
There's usually apps in the App Store. So most of them have a website. You can find an app on the App Store.
Okay.
Of course, the key is to find a reputable one, as with anything that's involving anything that's using money. I'm seeing some questions coming in that I think we're also going to have to address. But you can usually find, most of them will have a website. So I'm just dropping the link for 𝐋𝐢𝐽𝐺 in the chat to give people an example.
All right, no problem. And then, of course, as you say, you can do your additional research, identify, look for one that's reputable, and look for the app that's related to it. Understood.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Jillian, I see some questions coming in the chat, so I don't know if you want to start sharing those with our presenters.
Yes, good evening to all. We have one question here that's asking if you ever heard about Cash FS and what is your opinion on DCash and also EC digital currency? Yes.
Um, Cash FX, I believe, is a Forex group. I decline trading in Forex. It is not something that I have done the simulations for it. I did that throughout my MBA. However, I do not like Forex trading. DCash is actually what the Eastern Caribbean states are doing, and this is where I mentioned that cryptocurrencies have come to be examined by central banks and the entire finance world, because what the central bank of the Eastern Caribbean is doing is that they are trying to take their money digital. It speeds up transactions, allowing people to not have to carry cash, allowing the central bank not to have to print cash, and especially with a place like EC where there are so many islands in there, and people often might work on another island for a while and then move back, to reduce the friction of changing your money between the banks and between the islands. That is what DCash is for. I am looking forward to it very excitedly because I think it has some real implications for the region.
All right, Hallam, we have a question here asking which apps are accepted to the in the Caribbean and are used for trading crypto. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, particularly as you started talking about the fact that you've been doing this for the last few months and having some success. So what are some of the apps that are used in the Caribbean for trading crypto?
Okay, I think we've rushed ahead a bit because some people are probably wondering, for example, how do you actually still get the cryptocurrency? A little bit differentiation in terms of the wallets, because the strength of the hardware wallet is that your funds are actually stored on the blockchain, which is far more secure than storing it on a hot wallet, which is a digital wallet that's outside of an exchange. And you might also, if depending on if you're just trading on a small amount, say within $1,000 or whatever US, you might actually want to keep your funds on a well-established wallet on an exchange like say Binance, where they have a lot more security and that sort of thing, and they have a very good reputation for protecting themselves from hackers and that sort of thing. Yeah. So how do you get your currency? How do you get your money? Because that's a basic question that people are going to be asking. You know, how do I start trading? Yeah. The banks in Barbados do not allow you to use your credit card and your Visa debit card. There are some reports I'm getting that we'll have to check out to see how one can go about that. There is definitely a very keen interest, especially among the younger generation, and I would say anywhere between 10 and about 40 or so. There's a lot of approaches now to the central bank, and the younger people are saying, well, I want to trade on Ameritrade, and that's not cryptocurrency, that's more like trading on stocks and that sort of thing. But it's definitely a keen interest now in people who are saying, well, I want to make some money. This is COVID-19. I want to find ways of really making some money very, very securely. Yeah. So in terms of how it actually works, in terms of getting your cryptocurrency, what I do is that I find a friend who has USD Tether, because when you're trading, regardless of whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano or Polkadot or whatever you're trading, you will be trading a pair. So you'll be trading the cryptocurrency and a pair, for example, invariably US dollar Tether, which has the same value of a US dollar in value. So for example, you might say, well, I want to put in, say, 500 Barbados dollars or 1,000 Barbados dollars and buy some cryptocurrency like that. You find a friend who has the equivalent in terms of US dollar Tether, which would be half of the Barbados amount, and he would probably charge you a fee on that. And then what he would do is that you would simply give him your Barbados dollars with the fee, and he would send the US dollar Tether, which is a stable coin, to your exchange wallet. So let's say you're on Binance, he would send it to your Binance wallet for you, and you would pay him the equivalent plus a fee in Barbados dollars. So that's the one that I tend to use right now because of the issue with the banks and that sort of thing. And then you can go and start trading how you want to trade, right? Now, in terms of setting up a wallet, you can use your laptop or your cell phone. There's some people who might be very comfortable using both, but I tend to use my laptop a lot. I can just go on there. I can set it up very easy. In 15 minutes, you could have an account on an exchange, and you could then have your wallet on that exchange. And as I mentioned, you just basically get the cryptocurrency sent from wherever the person has it, exchange or whatever, to that wallet, and then you can start trading. In terms of apps, well, yes, you can download the apps for trading if you just want to use your cell phone. So, for example, if you only want to use Binance app, you can use that app and you can trade using your cell phone, or you can have your laptop. I tend to use my laptop, and then you could have your security on both in both instances. And whatever app you want to download to use in terms of exchange, then that should be downloadable free of cost from the Apple or Google Center. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. We have someone asking a question whether you can give any tips on where to buy.
All right,
and
so
then, well, I see this person is already, this
Right.
person is asking the question you already answered about the banks. So are there any tips on where to buy? Go ahead. Your mic is muted, Hallam.
There is an OTC market that is being established, and it's going to be fully, regulated and all that sort of stuff. So you would have that as an option. I don't know if I'm at liberty to give any information on that right now. Perhaps the individual could contact me afterwards. My information is in the chat. But as I said, it's once you have a honest, decent person that you've been dealing business with, or you have to get into the industry, you have to get into the contacts and know the people, and then they will put you in direction to somebody who might be able to sell you USDT. Now, a lot of people will have difficulty actually selling you BTC because people invest in BTC, and BTC is in big demand, and people tend to hold on to it. You might get a few people who will be willing to sell it at a profit. But USDT status is quite easier to get. And once you have it and you have it on the exchange, then you can buy whatever you want to buy with it. You could buy Ethereum, you could buy Cardano, you could buy Polkadot, you could buy Bitcoin when the price is low. And essentially, when you're trading, you're basically looking to buy low and sell high. So you have three options in terms of when you actually get going in terms of trading. What Leiska does is that she's a long-term hodler. So she's going to buy as low as possible, and then she's going to wait until the price goes way high, and she's going to make like a 80%, 90%, 100% profit, or even much more. What cryptocurrency does do is fantastic, is that it allows you three options. One, you could do like Leiska and hodl for the very long term, which means, for example, you could buy today and you could keep it until about September, end of year, and see what really the price is doing, and decide if you want to need or sell it at any particular point. But then you also have a mix of trading on swing trading, which is what I do, which is like every few days, every weeks or whatever, and that's fairly safe. And then you can also do a mix of investment and trading, so it offers a lot of options to the individuals. And although at the present the banks are not allowing you generally to buy cryptocurrency through your cards, it might be possible in investigating whether it's possible that you could actually go and get permission from the central bank, and whether then you could send those funds to another location or company and then have them diverted into cryptocurrencies, and then you will still be able to trade. Yeah.
Okay. And either one of you can answer this. Someone is asking, what about Pi or B? And there is one called GeoCash.
Well, let's go deal with that, but I would like to come back to the DCash question at some point in time. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
deal with that question.
Yeah, just very quickly, there are almost as many cryptocurrencies right now as there are stars in our galaxy. It has become a very competitive field because again, there is the get rich quick mentality. One of the more common scams for some time was to put out something that was simply a cryptocurrency people who couldn't get or afford any Bitcoin would buy any cryptocurrency because all of them were going up compared to Bitcoin. The persons sell that cryptocurrency for cash and then they disappear and the whole thing falls apart. That is why I am very much into the fundamentals and look very closely into things. Now, that's not to say that all cryptocurrencies are bad, obviously. It's just the sort of market we're in. There are always people trying things to get rich quick. And there's some who are trying to do things, but they unfortunately do not have the ability to execute what they want to do with the cryptocurrency due to either lack of technical knowledge or lack of the ability to make the connections and to make the worth apparent to people.
So
but
just sorry to
yeah,
interrupt
go
you there,
ahead.
but just
No
tell
problem.
us what are some of the fundamentals that individuals who are getting started and trying to find good options out there, even if you're not getting started, maybe you've been in it for a while, what are some of the fundamentals that you should be looking for to make sure that it's not one of those scams or one of those schemes?
Briefly, I would state number one, can you find out, can anybody either make, buy, or earn the cryptocurrency? Bitcoin, when it came out quite a while ago, roughly around the 2008 recession, if I recall correctly, the point of Bitcoin was people had their computers and you could use your computer, run the Bitcoin platform on your computer. Your computer, whilst you're sleeping or something else, you leave it on. It will take its time to solve a mathematical equation that would help encrypt the entire chain of transactions that would have happened for the day. And then you would have earned a bit of Bitcoin for your computer's effort. That was what Bitcoin started off with. So the reason it's very important that you understand that is because that meant anybody could get Bitcoin for quite some time. Anybody could run it on their computer. Anybody could generate Bitcoin at any point in time if they download the full code and all of the transactions that would have happened and are registered. And if they had it, anybody could earn Bitcoin, which means no one person is controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
When one person is controlling it, then you have to be able to trust that one person. In which case, I would say you're probably better off going to the bank and putting the money in the bank if you're going to trust any one person.
Okay.
Or any one entity. I look for, is it truly decentralized in that manner? Is it something that has actual experts at work on it? Whilst Bitcoin came out and we do not know fully who the creator of Bitcoin was, it was open source and many people have worked on it to improve it over time. For example, Cardano, which is I think second or third most popular cryptocurrency, the people who have worked on that are people who have worked on Bitcoin, have worked on Ethereum, which is the second most popular cryptocurrency, I believe. They have worked on cryptocurrencies and they understand how to keep it safe from it being held by one person and controlled by one person. They understand the nature of encrypting the currency and in the importance of recording every transaction that happens, which are the backbones on a technological side of cryptocurrencies without going far too much deeper.
So Marjorie, if I pick up on that
Yes.
question, first of all, and then go back to the cash question, because that needs to be answered properly. I shared in the chat coin market cap, COINMARKETCAP, and that website has all the cryptocurrencies and it has a lot of very important financial data in terms of what those cryptocurrencies represent and some history if you dig deeper into it. One of the key things that you want to go and look for immediately would be the market capitalization. Now, if you go and look, for example, at Bitcoin, you would find that today the total market capitalization for all cryptocurrencies is somewhere in the vicinity of about $1.5 trillion. And if you follow this information, you would have known that like earlier last year, it was in the vicinity of $250 billion. So you can see that there has been a staggering increase in investments by large companies, large institutions, big names like Elon Musk with $1.56 billion, and he's just one of many persons, institutions that have thrown a lot of money into the cryptocurrency market, into Bitcoin, and therefore you can see why it has moved from about $3 million up to 1.5 trillion dollars. So when you go and look at the market capitalization figures, you find that Bitcoin has about 60% of the market capitalization of all the cryptocurrencies. And what that is saying to you, that is a very, very, very safe cryptocurrency to invest in because it has a lot of capital behind it, and it's about 60% of the market cap of all the cryptocurrencies. Following that is Ethereum, which has smaller but a very solid and sound technology behind it, as well as a pretty large market cap. And then you have coins like Cardano, you have coins like Polkadot, you have coins like Chainlink. So there are essentially three tiers of cryptocurrencies that you would look at in terms of market capitalization. Of course, you're going to look at the people who are behind the project. You're going to look at what the global use case of the project seek to serve and all that sort of stuff. All that research you need to do. But when you look at in terms of the market cap, you're going to find three categories basically. There are the leading market cap with over $10 billion. Okay, there is the second tier of cryptocurrencies that are up to $10 billion. Okay, and then there is a whole wash of what we call poop coins that are some of them like maybe $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. So clearly, a coin that has a huge amount of market capitalization is a strong coin that you can more or less depend on. It's going to be around for quite some time. And when you're investing now in a low cap with $3 million or so, you might have a sudden surge in price, but who knows? It might go back to zero in another few weeks or another few months or whatever. So that coin market cap is quite useful in terms of helping you to understand what these coins are about and which ones you should choose from. But I want to quickly go back to the question on DCash. That question is a very, very important question. We have to answer that. Let's be clear and understand that the current system that we have right now is a centralized system. We're moving towards a decentralized system. So we're moving towards a system that's more automated, more efficient, cheaper, faster, more secure, addresses our privacy in a much more suitable way to ourselves. And therefore, it's a much more advanced system than the existing system, which is centralized, which is high cost, slow, got to go through lots of hoops and whatever, high cost, delays, long, and all that sort of stuff. So we're moving from there. And what the central bankers have discovered, and this is in the case of the Bahamas and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the Bahamas has already just launched their sand dollar, which is essentially what it is. It's essentially a digital dollar or a digital version of the Bahamian dollar. The DCash is essentially the same thing. It's a digital, it's at a pilot stage still, but it's going to go live at the end of this month. So from the end of this month, if you're a Grenadian, if you're a St. Lucian, if you want to do a trade and whatever, you're going to have a great opportunity to buy your money and have your money in digital DCash currency. So what this does, as I said, it's cheaper, it's faster. It's faster because it's peer-to-peer. So if Marjorie is a business person in, say, Grenada, and Jillian is a business person in, say, St. Lucia, rather than going through all the banks and hoops and all the costs and that sort of thing, Marjorie just contacts Jillian and say, "Hi, Jillian, I need 2,000 oranges. Can you ship them for me tomorrow?" And Jillian says, "Sure, no problem. Just send me your DCash from your wallet to my wallet." She gets the funds on her wallet, direct peer-to-peer, cuts out all the banks, cuts out all the middle people, all the costs, all the delays, all that sort of stuff. You don't have to worry about post offices and you don't have to worry about a lot of those other costs. Jillian gets her money quickly. Jillian can ship her money quicker, ship the oranges or tomatoes or whatever, or furniture or whatever to Marjorie far quicker. Marjorie could then stock her billing in Broad Street or wherever it is. She can sell her products a lot faster. Jillian gets her money a lot quicker. Jillian can then reinvest her funds so that she can grow her business, and everybody's growing their business a lot faster because you're cutting out the middle person. So that's what the DCash is aiming to do in terms of the OECS, and that was aiming to do in terms of the Bahamas as well. And in the case of the Bahamas, when you're sending funds from your wallet, your digital wallet in the Bahamas, Regardless, you know, there are hundreds and hundreds of islands in the Bahamas. So you send it from one wallet to another wallet. There's actually no fee whatsoever to send your Bahamian sand dollar from one point to another point. So you can see lower costs, faster, more efficient. It's going to spur innovation. It's going to spur business development. And that's why DCash are seen as so exciting. The difference now is that digital currencies and cryptocurrencies are two different things altogether. Yes, they're peer-to-peer, okay, but there are more options now for you to use your cryptocurrencies to do several things. You can trade with it and make money, as you mentioned. You can invest in it. You can invest short-term, medium-term. You can trade and determine, listen, I want to beat the inflation. If the inflation is 5%, I want to earn more than 7%. I want to earn my money more than 10%. I want to get 20% profit so that I am ahead of the curve in terms of inflation. So I'm beating inflation. My money is really working for me in different forms of fashion. And you also have an option of actually something called staking, where you can save your cryptocurrencies while they're appreciating in value, while Letitia's there waiting for her Bitcoin to go up to $100,000 or whatever. You could still be staking and earning funds as well, interest from those same funds. So it provides many, many opportunities which a digital currency alone doesn't quite do. So, you know, both of them, I think both are going to exist, hopefully, side by side, and people just use them in whatever ways they would like to use them. Yeah?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I know that BIT, our local company in Barbados, BIT has been working with the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank to develop that digital currency. And they are in discussion with doing it across the rest of the Caribbean and so on, and make digital currency more a way of life. And thank you for clarifying that there is a difference between that and cryptocurrency. Now, I have two other questions I'm seeing here in the chat. One person asked if you can talk about dividends from cryptocurrency, and somebody else says a little later down, on the news last night, they said that for the last 12 months, crypto was getting great returns, but is it sustainable?
Okay, let me take that quickly, and then I'll let Letitia come in. So is cryptocurrency? Is cryptocurrency sustainable? So when people talk cryptocurrency, they're probably looking at Bitcoin and that sort of thing. Yeah. Now, when I got involved back in 2017, it was a totally different market. That market was driven by retail people like myself, Jillian, Leiska, Marjorie. We were the individuals, the retail people who would have bought and sold and that sort of thing. Since the middle of last year, and I began trading in May 22nd last year, and I can tell you that we made some fabulous profits in terms of percentages since then, 46.5% in January, 50% last month. Of course, it depends on the amount that you're trading, but the market has changed entirely because now all of a sudden you have the Elon Musk's put in $1.56 billion. We have Michael Saylor, who has put in probably well over $1 billion US in Bitcoin. You have you know, Guggenheim, you have a lot of these fancy names that you don't know about, MicroStrategy, you have BlackRock, you have a lot of these large multi-trillion-dollar investment companies have now bought into Bitcoin. So what does that mean? First of all, Bitcoin has a maximum amount that you can buy, anybody can buy, of $21 million. So these guys are realizing, listen, dollar isn't doing anything for us. The dollar is going down. Stocks aren't doing too much for us. We want real decent returns, and Bitcoin is really the only game in town. And that is what a lot of huge institutions are saying. So they're all rushing in. And what this means is that a lot of people are expecting that Bitcoin will move, it's just under $60,000. People actually will go to 70,000, 75,000, 100,000. There's even one prediction that Bitcoin could go to as high as 220,000 US dollars this year. So you have to follow what is happening in the news, what's developing, and then you decide whether you think that this is something that you want to invest in. Then you could decide how you want to invest. You want to invest long term, like let's say you want to invest medium, you want to do some trading, you want to earn some funds and put back in some money and reinvest, you want to get a broader portfolio. You have all these options now available to you, but you need education and you need to be clear and get some mentoring and help in terms of the scams, because there are a lot of scams out there. There are people, your friends will tell you, come and invest in this, come and invest in that, but they haven't done the research. That's what Leiska and I do. We invest in our research. We understand exactly this thing is a potential scam. It could be an exit scam. You know, we've done a lot of research and knowing what sort of scams we've had before, all the Ponzi schemes and all that sort of stuff. So you either need to do, and in some cases, people don't even know where to research and how to research. So you really need the very best advice and education because we don't want you to lose a single cent of your money. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And thank you very much for that. So that's an important point. It might not be sustainable for the next 20 years or whatever, but you can make some very good returns on it now. And you want to make decisions based on the knowledge. So you need to get educated so you understand what you're getting into. So a very good point there. And I behooves me to say that Hallam, one of the things that you do is really working with individuals who want to understand and who want to build up that level of education. So you can just check the chat. Hallam has already put his information there. He will put it again, his contact information, if anybody wants to get in touch with him. Now, he did say he's not a financial advisor, but he does work with people so they can build up their understanding and awareness of what's going on. And Leiska, I know that you have done research, you've published articles and so on the topic. But perhaps you can also take the question that came up about dividends. Is that so? Over to you.
Right. So, cryptocurrency dividends. This is something that some cryptocurrencies will most likely get towards because the cryptocurrencies that I have researched so far, they want to be able to do much like a company will pay dividends on its stock if you buy it. There are a number of cryptocurrencies that would like to do that. However, some have had technical challenges in doing so. I will say what I have seen happening is that some exchanges will allow you to lend your, if you happen to have any cryptocurrencies, you can lend those cryptocurrencies via the exchange for a fee, much like you were a bank, and then it will automate the return of those cryptocurrencies to your wallet with the associated interest. You can set the interest rate and decide what you want to do from there. Now, that is my current information on cryptocurrency dividends. Again, I tend to, Hallam would have mentioned them, the ones that have larger capitalization, which means more people have put their trust in them, which means they have more worth according to the entire free market that has access to them. That's where I would state for cryptocurrency dividends, something that many say is coming. I have not seen it actually implemented as yet in a cryptocurrency. There are some things that I have seen that I have not put 100% faith in that state that they can provide you with cryptocurrency dividends. I have not researched those enough to put any faith in their statements as yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there are one or two, for example, BlockFi that are backed by highly reputable large corporations and what's not. And they do have something of a reputation, as mentioned. You have to do your research. And if
Yes.
there's one point I would like everybody to understand is that because of this convergence of the technology, what it really no means is that the individual can become their own bank. All right? A family can become their own bank. A community can become their own bank. An NGO of organizations and whatever, they can become their own bank because they can now use hard wallets to store cryptocurrencies on the blockchain securely. And then they can decide, for example, if Jillian put in $500 and Margie put in $2,000, then they could decide after a period of time that Jillian gets whatever percent for the $500 and uh, and Margie gets whatever percent for the $2,000 or whatever. But as families and individuals, we now have an opportunity to save, grow some funds, help educate the children to get involved in this thing, and to offer services. So, for example, gift cards is one service that you can get your children interested in, rather than Marjorie sending to her husband or better half a Christmas gift card that is going to be thrown away in a matter of weeks or whatever and forgotten, kiss, kiss, kiss. However, she could send that individual could send her a gift card of 100 Barbados dollars worth of Bitcoin, which I suspect Margie might prefer to have and consider a bit more valuable than the Santa Claus and what's not on a piece of paper that's going to be thrown away. So what can happen is that we can actually get young people to know design these Christmas cards, these gift cards, So there are a lot of services that are coming along on top of the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space that provides a lot of opportunities for individuals and groups and families. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, a lot of the reason that we wanted to have this kind of discussion was because there is a lot of interest. We know that there are a lot of people in the region who want to figure out how to invest and how to make money and how to really do something with whatever disposable income they have, no matter how small. So let me ask you this, because we know a lot of people have different investment attitudes. Would you say that this investing in cryptocurrency is a get rich quick endeavor?
Leiska, you wanna deal with that first?
It's never been a get rich quick endeavor for me,
Right.
but it has been an endeavor to thoroughly learn them because I see a future for cryptocurrencies, things that will be like cryptocurrencies, just to ease world trade right now. Every country has its own currency. Half or more than half the countries on the planet, nobody's going to take their currency for trading. It leads to all sorts of frictions. Central banks have to deal with those frictions because they take care of it. That slows down everything when it comes to the flow of money across borders. I see the potential for cryptocurrencies to become the stateless form of exchange of value, a global agreed upon exchange of value. Maybe not in the current iterations as bitcoins and such, but I can see that what is learned from cryptocurrencies will be used. We see it with DCash now. It will go towards the future because I think that will be how we reduce settlement times, how we solve some of the issues, for example, of being able to send and receive money overseas and having to constantly go to central banks. And the mere fact is that companies that we know and trust are getting into it. Facebook, for all of its good and bad news, I will openly state I'm not a Facebook fan, but they were contemplating their own cryptocurrency, essentially, their own currency, the Libra coin. Facebook could be considered a country of 2 billion people. If people on Facebook could earn Libra coin to just by putting up posts, just for the content that they normally produce, earn a little fee for resharing content, they will use Libra coin. And then local currencies will seem fairly silly if for example, I think there's an estimate that about 60% of Barbados is on Facebook.
Okay.
So it behooves you to kind of learn about cryptocurrencies, understand them, because bits and pieces of them, the technology, the idea of decentralization, I think they will be coming to our future. And if you happen to be able to make money along the way with income that you are not using whatsoever, that would also be delightful. However, that is not my main goal. Holding, yes, but I am looking at the fundamentals because I can see this as me learning now what I might have to learn when I'm 85 and my kids are sending me money.
Okay.
So get rich quick, Marjorie. It has
Yes.
two hats there. First of all, anybody who comes to you and tells you, pay me $500 or whatever, or $800 every month, and I can teach you how to trade, and you can get rich quick. You know that's a scam. All right. Anything once it's getting rich quick, there's no getting rich quick in this business. Yes, people have made millions of dollars, but they made millions of dollars because they got in early. All right. Now it is still possible for you to get rich quick. Not get rich quick, but get rich eventually.
Eventually.
Eventually. So, for example, let me give you an example. If you bought a couple of coins, and I won't say who bought them, some time ago, and those coins are now worth about 15 cents and 13 cents US, and you bought 2,000, okay? You could say, well, I'm going to wait until the price goes from 13 cents or 12 cents or 15 cents as it is now to $1. Yeah. Or you could do like Leiska and say, well, I am not going to sell them at $1 because I might make like $2,000 or whatever, or $4,000. I ain't looking for that sort of, I'm not in that sort of game. Why don't I wait until it gets $100? And if it's a really great project, it could get to $100. And then your funds suddenly become something under $200,000. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, what if you held on like Leiska now, and this is a really great project, it's keep on growing and growing and growing, and it went up to $1,000. Okay? Went to $1,000 now, Marjorie. Marjorie, you've got your 4,000 coins that you bought at
Yeah.
15 cents and 30 cents or whatever. It's now $1,000, Marjorie. What does
Yeah.
that mean? That you become a multi-millionaire. Okay.
Yeah.
No, nobody's gonna promise you that you're gonna get rich quick, but it's
Mm.
possible. Everything is possible, right?
Yeah.
That's the
All
beauty of
right.
cryptocurrency. Yeah.
But that's good. That's a good response. And that's why I asked, because, sometimes people give up when they don't see something happening right away. So it's good to know that you can take the option to hang in there and kind of let it ride. Now, I see that we have a hand up. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. You can go ahead and unmute your mic, eBay.
Yes, that's perfect. All right. Yes, Harlem, this is actually for you. You touched on something in you were talking about the gift cards. I was going to ask in Barbados at the moment if any hotels or guest houses are actually taking Bitcoin, because you can imagine a situation. You can imagine Airbnb. You can imagine Barbados, for example, organizing a way where people actually get paid in Bitcoins or get paid in a token, a second layer currency. And that just becomes, I mean, that would put Airbnb out of business, but Airbnb can implement it themselves. You can imagine that happening, and that would be a direct route to actually getting tokens or coins and being able to get into the exchange. Is any of that stuff happening? I'm just going to say that I'm speaking from Norway, but I'm Bayesian, well, partly Bayesian. So it's great to see your faces.
Well, hey to Norway.
All
Go
right.
ahead, Hallam.
Thank you so much for the question. And I think I still pick up a little bit of Bayesian accent in mostly 90% Norwegian. Anyhow, the question is that the market in Barbados is, we're still learning. We're still learning the process. We're not using cryptocurrencies as a form of exchange. I suspect there are a number of visitors who will be coming to the island who would have gone to somewhere, Airbnb or whatever, and they would ask, well, can I pay in cryptocurrency? However, if we go back to what we discussed earlier, the fact is that if you have cryptocurrency, especially if you have Bitcoin, and you know the right people, I'm saying to you that you're going to get your Bitcoin sold in a flash. You will get your Bitcoin sold, I would say, easily within 48 hours, if not 24 hours, because you could have set it up earlier if you have the right contact. So getting your Bitcoin sold in the Barbadian market is easy peasy once you know the right people. And then once you've got your Barbados currency, then you can use it as you feel like. But we haven't got to the stage yet where cryptocurrency is an over-the-counter form of exchange of money and that sort of thing. Yeah, but there's a lot of potential, and if you're in the right space, if you're in the right contacts and knowing the right people, getting your Bitcoin sold and in exchange for Barbados dollars is easy peasy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. So if there are any additional questions, please go ahead. You can raise your hand or you can go ahead and type them in the chat for us.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
we have
well, sir.
sorry, I'm excited to say there's a comment here. So eBay, if you're
Yes.
not noticing in the chat, DMA Value Vacations accepts crypto for air tickets. So that's very good to know. Thank you, Denise, for putting that up there.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Denise.
So there's at least one. So once it starts, hopefully there will be more.
There you
So
go.
that was a good question. Go ahead.
Yeah. I would like to say that we cannot talk about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies or even the central bank decentralized money attempt without mentioning Gabriel Abed and what he did in building BIT. Unfortunately, in moving over to working with the central banks, we have lost what would have been our Caribbean exchange for purchasing Bitcoin, which used to be able to do at BIT. They have gone in a different direction. So I saw someone mention Antigua in the chat, and I know they had recently done some legislation changes last year, possibly. I remember a discussion around it in late 2019. So I am hopeful, and I actually put it out there. I'm hoping that there's someone else who can step up where Gabriel, he paved the path, and someone that can step up to provide a Caribbean exchange for general cryptocurrencies. As I said, the value for them is that they are decentralized. Of course, most people are feeling comfortable, will probably feel more comfortable with something that their central bank has sanctioned. But I think it's to our detriment that we do not have any exchanges in the island or even in the region that we are allowed to use. I think any that are in the region are set up more as international businesses, which means they cannot do business with Caribbean nationals. But
one possibility, Leiska, is that in Jamaica, I just found out recently that they are looking at they're looking into the whole question of stable coins. Now, stable coins are fantastic because stable coins essentially are the equivalent of $1 US. So if, let's say, all the central banks were to add stable coins to their portfolios and to ways of doing business, as the Jamaicans are looking at doing, then you'll be able to send stable coins from Jamaica to Grenada, from the Bahamas to Guyana, from Trinidad and Tobago to Antigua, and that would be one possible option. But I think you're absolutely correct that it would be really great if you could have a Caribbean exchange where you'll be able to have exchange your cryptocurrencies like that way. But the thing about it is actually, in truth and in fact, is that the blockchain now allows us to do a whole lot of things as individuals, as businesses, as we see fit to take advantage of the blockchain while we wait to see if the governments can get around to set up what would be great to have a regional exchange and that sort of thing. But it can be done right now. And it's interesting that the Jamaicans are looking at stable coins, because once you have a stable coin, it means that you can send that stable coin to any business person, any individual, any government, anywhere in the Caribbean, and it's essentially a US dollar value. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. I think we had a very good discussion. I'm going to come back to both of you just to ask for some closing comments. But I think we had a very good discussion where we are beginning to explore, and maybe for some people continuing there already, the exploration that they have begun with regards to what we can do in the region to really diversify individual incomes and potential for growing your portfolios, making investment incomes, that kind of thing, passive income and so on. And I think that as we move forward as a region, we definitely know that we need to explore new and different things, because we see what's happening all around the world, and new and different ways to getting money is something that we have to be willing to explore. So I think what we've done this evening is the beginning of a conversation. So I encourage everybody to go do their research, try to get additional information, and get informed before you step out to make to take action, so that you know what kinds of decisions you're willing to make. So I'm going to just ask for some closing comments. Who wants to go first?
Ladies first. I like ladies to go first as well.
Okay, so Leiska, over to you.
yes, I will say keep learning, and keep learning. That's very key. That's very key, because, as I said, cryptocurrencies have been around actually for almost 10 years now. The bank system is looking at them. These might soon become a normal way of life, particularly after we've coming out of these past 2 years, where we're coming into era where it's all about no touching, where we're coming into this era where we want to do things where we can just send it out and have it come back to us electronically, where it became necessary for that lifestyle. Keep learning. If you have any amount that you do not absolutely need and you are willing to experiment, feel free to experiment and practice and learn that way. Nothing beats the practical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we need a few more businesses like DM Value Vacations who are willing to take it as their currency. Now, Leiska, tell us, where can people find your research, your writing, and how could they get in touch with you if they wanted to get more information?
Sure. Well, I am always on LinkedIn. I left my LinkedIn profile in there. I also write on my own blog for Evanson Strat. That's EVANSONSTRAT.com. Been a bit quiet for the past 2 years, but I do research finance. I do research on resiliency. Very big on understanding renewable energy and trying to make the region more resilient overall. And my company works on projects aiming to do those things throughout the region.
Okay, so that's evanstrat.com.
Evansonstrat.com.
Evansonstrat.com.
Yes. And you can find
Evansonstrat.com.
and you can search for me on LinkedIn, Leiska Evanson.
All right. Thank you very much. Hallam.
Hi. Okay. So for the first time, we're saying that money and technology and trade are coming together in ways that the individual can now take advantage of the individual who wants to get into a form of cross-border business. It could be trading, it could be investing, it could be saving. You could be buying products and exchanging using cryptocurrencies once you arrange the peer-to-peer arrangements and that sort of thing. So you have an opportunity also to create new jobs as an entrepreneur, create new opportunities in this whole wider space. You have an opportunity to what I say called beat inflation. The first time you can actually earn more than the level of inflation. So if you think inflation is at 5 or 7%, you can, with the right education, as this was said, with the right education and the mentoring, regardless of whether you've got a 10-year-old child or a 18-year-old child or you're 60 or 70 years old, with the right education, you have an opportunity to trade and earn successfully and consistently. And our model is that you do not have to lose a single cent. So we have, for the first time, a lot of opportunities for us to really move towards a level of financial independence. Yeah. And
Right.
contact information,
Yes.
information is hallamhope@gmail.com. It's HALLAMHOPE, one word, @gmail.com. I'm going to take the chance of giving you my cell phone so you can get me on WhatsApp. It's 246, of course, area code. And the number is 822-141-4. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on WhatsApp. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on anywhere that you want to find me on social media. Take it.
Okay,
Thanks so
and
much
on all those platforms, it's the same, Hallam Hope.
Well, it's like Hallam_Hope on Twitter. It's, you would find Hallam Hope on LinkedIn. You'll find Hallam Hope on YouTube and of course Facebook as well. So Hallam Hope is very familiar.
All right.
And once again,
Okay.
Marjorie, thank you so very much for the opportunity. I think we've had a great session.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to people to not just listen and say, well, that was very interesting information, but actually to go and take some action and do something about their financial futures. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I think both of you have given us information that we can feel empowered, as you say, to begin seeing ourselves as our own banker, taking responsibility for our financial growth and our financial development. And as always, as part of the LinkedIn Local Caribbean initiative, our intention is to do that, to help build knowledge, to help build awareness, to strengthen the network, and really to help us as a region and our people to really grow, develop, and keep going. So Jillian, I'm going to hand over to you so that you can share the contact information for the LinkedIn Local Caribbean and remind people of our upcoming session. So thank you very much. Great session to both our presenters.
Yes, I join with Marjorie, and many thanks to both of our presenters. And you can reach out to them to, even if you want to have that layman conversation while you are trying to educate yourself. You can locate us on www.linkedinlocalcaribbean.com. You can follow the hashtags on LinkedIn, which is hashtag LinkedIn Local Caribbean, hashtag LinkedIn Local Barbados, hashtag LinkedIn Local Jamaica, hashtag LinkedIn Local Trinidad. Remember, our aim is to connect and make valuable networking opportunities for you. So please do not hesitate to follow us, especially hashtag LinkedIn Local Barbados, Team Barbados. So many thanks to our participants for your time, right? For sticking out with us. We have a complement of 48, 47 persons still left. So that shows that the content was really valuable. And for staying with us, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your knowledge, also presenters.
Yeah. And look out for our upcoming sessions. We are going to have our next session on April 7th. We're going to be talking specifically for entrepreneurs to share information about marketing, about digital marketing, some new strategies that you want to consider if you're not already doing it. And then later on, we are going to have a discussion with the Medical Cannabis Council.
Licensing Authority, the Medical
Licensing Authority, excuse me.
Yes.
Medical Cannabis Licensing Authority in Barbados, because it's a new venture that's growing, and we wanted to make sure that our community members have an opportunity to ask any questions they may have. So thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening and stay
Marjorie,
safe.
And Marjorie,
Yes,
our presenters for our next session is going to be Shakita from Chatpost, and also
Pauline Joseph from
LinkedIn Local Caribbean. So that conversation is going to be very interesting.
All right. So thank you very much. And we look forward to you joining us again for another session. Take care. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.